All right. Hey, good morning, everybody. Little chill mix going on. Go ahead and get that down. Get that at over here. Hope everybody had a good weekend. It's that time. Good morning. Good morning, Christina Zaharia. So good to have you here. One of the OGs. I love it, love it, love it. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Um, yeah, so question for you. Lots going on here at the ranch, getting ready for the event. And something that keeps popping up to me, something that keeps showing up, is this idea of this unseen force and this unseen barrier. And it always seems to be there. I know this is 99.9% of the time. Hello, Molly. 99.9% of the time when I have these conversations, it's for me, right? I spent a lot of time outside this weekend. I mean, a lot of time. 50,000 steps between the 2 days, getting stuff ready here at the ranch. And it seems to me that there's this unseen barrier, and it starts with the way we feel. And it's a barrier that I've sensed my entire life. Maybe you've sensed it your entire life. You're going to tear stuff up. It's a force that stops me just before the breakthrough. I've had hundreds, if not thousands, of breakthroughs in my life. And I don't know that it goes all the way the first time, but there's this thing, it whispers, this is who you are. This is all you can be. And for far too long, it's been right. So having this conversation, having this understanding, no, you're not going to choose. Having a puppy around, chews on everything. It's a good attention getter. You know, you've read the books. I've read the books. I've read lots of books. I've read a handful of books lots of times. You've done the mindset. You've set the goals. You've listened to YouTube videos. You've listened to podcasts. You've gone to events. You've written your own journals. You've gone to seminars, and yet something still feels unfinished. This making sense? It's like you're standing on the threshold of something amazing. It's that Joseph Campbell's hero's journey. You're standing there at the door, you're answering the call, and then maybe you're not answering the call, but the door's locked from the inside and you're on the outside. But the lock is actually inside you. So it's these unseen forces. It's this barrier. It's a mindset. And we all say, well, I got to fix my mind. I got to get my mind right. I got to work on me. I got to do this thing. And it isn't just a mindset. It's a system of unconsciousness program. That's the key. It's this unconscious programming that's wired into us. And the brain does two things. Will this kill me? Or how fast could I recognize the pattern? And we have this pattern of protecting our identity. It's called addiction to approval. We want to be accepted for who we're known for, not who we're going to be, not who we're becoming, who we were known for. And we've maintained this awareness. And this unconscious programming's been layered upon layered upon layered, and it's called neurological loops. And these generations that have been passed down of trauma and of habits. We have these things called neurological loops. And what if we could become aware of those? See, they're happening at such a pace and such a speed and such a routine. Willpower doesn't even work for it, because we work hard and we want to get healthy and we want to do our push-ups and we want to do our running and our stretching and our walking. But your mind's ability to delay the update, to delay the upgraded new programming installed, It's what happens. We constantly delay our success. What if you think about it, what if your brain has been filtering your potential through old codes? What if you were trying to clean the air in your house with an old filter? You're like, I changed the filter, but it's an old filter that's already dirty, that's already plugged, that's already has an aroma to it. Right? If you've ever used any aromatherapy and you put a little oil on a little disc and set it near a light bulb or put it in your air conditioner vents, whatever's on that disc comes out. Well, you have this essential oil called you on this filter of your brain, and you run codes through it, and it keeps coming out like your old version. So we have to look at this as a comprehensive, as a total whole body, mind, spirit awareness. So what if you were started to realize that you weren't going to another training? You weren't going to another seminar, and you weren't going to another book club. You were going to take part in a cognitive, complex awareness revolution for you, the nexus, one that rewires you at the deepest levels of thought, the deepest levels of your energy, and the deepest levels of your identity. What if? What if this intersection is where science meets soul, where wisdom of the ages meets cutting edge neurological understanding and neuroenergetics? A place where the barriers of your old programming literally collapse, crumble. And you help to build yourself this true architecture of your success. And the real architecture of your success is revealed. What if? What if you were able to unlock that version of you that you dream of? What if you were able to unlock, to free that version of you that can do things effortlessly? So inside this conversation, inside this dialogue, inside this unconscious programming, I can kind of bring you to this wheel of awareness. We have 5 primary spokes, 6 if faith is included. Already we've discussed in your architecture, in your sanctuary of undevelopment and achievement. Those are 5 key spokes that bring you to the hub of you: family, body, mind, finance, society, and faith. Those are 5 key spokes that bring you to this hub, to this awareness, to this architecture called you. So there's some more that we can add to it. The key is that when we go off and we step into this dream land and we visualize our goals, the reason that visualization isn't paramount, it is absolutely 100% critical. Where Wallace talks about the thinking stuff, and Hill talks about burning desire, and Deepak Chopra talks about the field of energy. All of this to say, the reason that we have to, not get to, we have to, it is absolutely critical that we visualize with absolute clarity into the thinking substance, this energetic field that every cell in our body has an antenna to send messages into and to receive from. We have to have a neurological shift. When Waddle says it's about doing it in a certain way, It's literally about playing the guitar of your life, the piano of your life, the clarinet, the bassoon, the whatever instrument it is, playing it in harmony with the vibration of the thing you want. That takes neurological understanding and awareness. When people say, I just find it so hard to visualize, the visualization is a vibration. And the vibration comes from a thought, which then produces the feeling. Thought produces the feeling. What you think about and think about, you bring about. This is why it takes repetition after repetition after repetition. The challenge is that we have decision fatigue. And I don't know that it's decision fatigue anymore. It's not like we won't be making any less decisions. We have to become decision strong. We have to create some clarity. We have to create some energetic understanding. Because right now, the decision to have your vision clear is simply one decision. To say, I'm going to produce my definite major purpose in writing. I'm going to produce a visual mental story, a mental image with absolute detailed clarity. That's one decision. It's one simple decision to say, this is what I'm going to make. Once you start, you have a lot of additions to make, some subtractions to make. That's where the mental fatigue comes in, is the idea of a sustained thought. So what if you could uncover the block that is called decision fatigue? And what if you could unlock the flow and get into flow state at will? What about your identity? Who do you become? See, all of these years, I've morphed, I've adjusted things that were my trademark that I thought were cool for me. And I adjusted these things so that they didn't make other people feel uncomfortable. See, when you're on stage and you travel the world and you have 2 million miles on airlines, 2 different airlines, that's a lot of flying. That's a lot of ego up in the air. And there's certain things that I would do that they were memorable, they just weren't beneficial. So inside of this Nexus program, there's identity calibration. It's about your reticular activating system. We all know we have the reticular activating system. We have to see the opportunities. We're not paying attention to the reticular formation system. See, if you say you want your goals, listen carefully. Think about this for just a moment. You want to be your ideal weight. What is the programming your reticular activating system has on board? If you know somebody who says, okay, I'm going on a diet, it's Monday, I'm starting my diet. And you know this person, and they've started this diet a dozen times. I mean, they're really serious. They went out and bought the sweatbands and the headband and the right, 1970s. And they're gonna go to work. They renewed their gym membership. They did all of these things. They got their water bottle, they got their yoga mat, they got their sweat towel, and they're absolutely committed. And then by Wednesday of this week, that stuff's in a box somewhere. See, their reticular activating system operated on all of the past experiences. Simply because we tell our reticular activating system, I'm going to be healthy, the formation system says, oh, we know this program. This is an easy program to run. We start one day, we do it the second day, we come up with something third day that we don't do it in again. And then we come up, we've got the list of excuses. We don't even have to think about the list of our excuses for why we're not going to go do our daily videos, why we're not going to go talk to our people, 2 people a day. I'll talk to 50 people a day. We don't do it. We don't do it. We don't do it consistently. Your success has nothing to do with massive action. It has everything to do with massive consistency. See, that's where I think there's a huge hiccup in our profession where we talk about all out massive action. Nobody's talking about massive consistency. Daily activities, do your daily blessings, do your daily gratitude, do your daily journaling. Yeah, I started that. I did that. I did this. I did that. I tried this. I tried that. Daily, consistent action. And that's the identity calibration. How many of you have ever done a house cleaning, spring cleaning, right? That's coming up here on this side of the hemisphere, this side of the world. Done a cleanse, a body cleanse. I got a dear friend who's teaching now liver cleanse. If I knew how important a liver cleanse was, I'd have started it a long time ago. What do you do to purge your mind of bad thoughts? Wait, what? Wait. How do you dismantle belief systems that no longer serve you? It's called cognitive pruning. There's literally, when you talk about this neurogenesis and neurogeneration and this ability to create a set of new neural networks, when you undo habits, I'm talking about habits that have been around for a while, there's a thing called neural pruning. We literally can watch it on an fMRI, watch these neurons that are no longer used, right? Neurons that are wired together, fire together, wire together. If they're no longer firing and wiring, they simply disengage. The pattern, the flow of thought doesn't need to flow through that to get to your end. Now imagine if the cognitive patterns that you have of success, of money, of love, of business partners, what if you rewire that? What if you actually prune the things that are no longer valid, no longer valuable to you? First, you got to become aware of it, right? So how much of what you do with your customers, how much of what you do with your clients is nonverbal? Think about that for a second. How much of what you do with your clients is nonverbal? It's called the presence effect. Do you understand the energetic field that influences outcomes before you speak? Do you understand human reciprocity? Are you an inviting soul energetically that people want to do what you're doing? They want to be in your energy, not cult or guru like. Just this simple thing called the presence effect. You know, we talk about, Tony Robbins talks about proximity is power. What's it like to be in your presence? You're not saying anything. There's a lot of people, they're a blast to be around, but it's because they're doing things. It's because they're acting and they're moving. What is it like to sit quietly with you? I forget who was doing where you would sit for 30 seconds or a minute with this person, and you would just literally sit down across from them, and people would burst into tears. Right? I think it was Was it Angelina Jolie? Maybe. I don't know. I'm trying to think of. I can see the image of it, but I can't remember who it is. So, what is your presence effect? Are you a draw, or do you repel? Well, if you're not in the center stage, if you're not looking, you need to be on stage, editorially on stage in your life. How are you when you're off stage? How are you when you're backstage? How long does your message last? Do you understand the science of harnessing lasting influence? So your inspiration echoes in the mind. What are you doing? Inspiration echoes in the minds of those after they have left your presence. It's called echo motivation. How long after your conversation do your words, do you, the story of you, echo in their mind? How much of a positive influence are you that they reference you, they echo your message, your teachings? And then we all talk about breaking the chains, right? Breaking the chain. What are the chains that need to be broken in your world? Generational loop breaker, right? So we have to identify these cycles, whether they're inherited, whether it was inherited financial beliefs, emotional trauma. If there's an emotional trauma you could think of right now that you know might be limiting you a little bit, when is it time to shift that? Letting that trauma minimize you, slow you down, keep you from moving forward isn't going to serve you. It's no longer a badge of honor that you need to keep hidden or need to keep rewiring. So let's be clear. Not everybody is meant to walk this path. Some people just love their misery. Some people love their pain. Some people love their poverty. This is for the curious. This is for those who are relentlessly seeking more in their life. It's for those who are obsessed. That's a very limited conversation. I'm talking about a true obsession on wanting to reach your best version of you. Not, I'll play with it on Tuesdays and Wednesdays and maybe every fifth Saturday. It's for the people who are in constant seek mode. And those who know that success isn't just built, it's engineered. The reason that my success of the past has fallen apart sometimes, is broken, right? What do they say about, what's the question they ask most people who have achieved a level of financial success, not freedom, success? Have you lost your first million? See, that's success that was built. Why don't some bridges fail? Why don't the majority of bridges performed, produced, created, why don't they fail? Because they were engineered. They weren't just built. They were engineered. What would it mean to engineer your success? What would it mean to have an engineered program designed by you, for you, in coordination, in collaboration with your dreams and your wants, custom engineered to your mind and body? What are you doing, baby girl? What if you're willing to question everything? See, this is what's going to be the big challenge for most, is in questioning everything. A lot of people who are struggling with success have all the answers. Do you ever notice that? When you're talking to people who say they want to join you in business, they want to get healthy, they want to get wealthy, they want to get better relationships, they want to fill in the blank, they want to do something better than they are. And as you start to challenge their current state, they have all the answers. Well, here's why that doesn't work. And here's why this doesn't work. And this is why that doesn't work. Well, I don't think that works. And I'm not going to do that. And I don't know this. This ain't for you. This conversation is not for you. Are you willing to question everything? Are you willing to lay down all of the beliefs you have? Not to change them, just to inspect them, to put them into a query, to put them into a conversation, to say, okay, where did this come from? Because what you'll find out is when you start to question everything, about 90 to 95% of what you believe was never of your own choosing. My research over 40 years in 30 different languages, 30 different cultural markets, about 90 to 95% of what somebody believes was never of their own choosing. That is huge. It's why when I have a decision, when I have a belief about something, I'll always ask myself, I go through a process. Where did this come from? When was the first time I became aware of this belief? Was it through association because everybody else liked it? Was it through collaboration because it's what got the job done? Was it out of a defense mechanism? If I like this, I won't be in trouble. Right, Molly? So you've been conditioned, listen carefully. And if this doesn't hurt, you might be in the right place. You've been conditioned to play small. You have been wired to play small, and you have reinforced your decision to play small by falling short of your goals, by not doing your daily consistent action. You are continually wiring, neuroencoding, reinforcing your limiting beliefs that your success is not possible. That is a neurocognitive decision you are making. 100% potential, 100% action, 100% potential. How much of the potential of your life are you living? If you're at 50%, you're not on this call. Seriously. But if you have 100% potential and you're not taking just the daily actions, daily consistent actions, hourly actions of checking in on yourself. Am I closer or farther away? Closer or farther away? Out of the 100% possible actions, we take a very small percentage, which then drives our results, which then gives us 100% of our beliefs. You realize it's these limited, repetitive, this always happens to me. This is how my life is. Why can't my life get any better? When am I going to get a benefit? When am I going to have some fun? When am I going to fill in the blank? Those results give you 100% of your beliefs. 100% potential, 100% actions. The results, the actions you take give you the results, which gives you 100% of your beliefs. That is neuroencoding. You've been conditioned to play small, to think incrementally, to change one habit at a time. You're not here for incremental change. You're here to dismantle, to decode, to re-engineer, and to do this at a reality at every level of your body, every level of your mind, every level of your soul. And this is when catastrophe happens. This is when when you are absolutely no holes barred, when you have no choice but to go forward. You've been to this place before and you don't like it. You don't like the stress. You don't like the aggravation. You don't like the agitation. You don't like the fact that it is right there in your face all the time. And so when you get through that hiccup, when you get through that hell on wheels, you're like, oh, okay, I can coast now. So, question, can you feel it? Are you being pulled towards something bigger, something bolder? This isn't random. This isn't by happen chance. You know, a lot of people get on the morning call and go, I don't know if you were listening to me. I don't know if you were hearing me. I don't know. This is exactly what I needed to hear. Some of you might be saying that. Others of you this might be the last recording of mine or live of mine you ever participate in. I'm okay either way. So this is the part of you that knows that there's more. That's the part of you that I've been talking to. That's the part of you that are going, ooh, this is good. And the part of you that's going, oh, shit, I don't know if I can deal with this. That's your old story. That's your old potential. That's your old beliefs. You're in this binary world. You know you want more, and the old part of you goes, you can't have more. You've tried this 100 times. I don't want you to get hurt again. How many of you have tried to keep somebody from getting hurt because you knew they were going to do the same old BS belief system, and you're like, I'm too tired. I'll go for it, and you just let them go. That's where your hippocampus, hypothalamus, that's where your brain is like, screw this. Just you've tried this. Okay, this is a new one. You're writing it in a purple pen. Whoop-de-doo. Because there's no emotional side to it. There's no emotional decision. You haven't cut off the old retreat yet. You haven't burned the ship. So this nexus isn't waiting for you. It's already open to you. Once you step in, though, there's no going back. Here's the challenge with really stepping into your new world is you will never see the world the same again. You unlock something, you unlock part of the matrix, and you see things completely different. You see rules for the way rules are supposed to be. You say reality for the way reality is supposed to be. And there was this hidden matrix of confusion and masking. Here's the big thing. You won't see yourself the same. That's the scariest part of this whole thing, is when you gather the understanding of the absolute magnificence of who you are, you the individual. It's unbelievable. So if you're going to walk into it, once you truly walk into it, you can't go back. You can see the other things. You can see the past, the story for what it was, how it limited you, where it came from, how it came from, what you did, how you did it. You can't go back there. You just can't. You don't have that escape route anymore. You don't have limiting beliefs anymore. So the question is, are you ready? So you've waited long enough. I think you've waited long enough. Now, some of you are going to go, okay, well, this sounds like another thing. It doesn't sound like anything you've ever heard. I promise you. If it sounds like anything you've heard, that is the filter through which you are hearing your potential, period. That is your subconscious programming running a filter that says, okay, yeah, but I could never do that. I'm too busy right now. I've got to take care of the chickens. I've got to take care of the sheep. I can't do that right now. I've got to paint the house. Summer's coming. I got to plan for a vacation. That's a filter that you run your life through. I can't do this. I can't do that. If you say the words I can't, That's the filter you're operating your life through. It's time to claim the version of yourself, if you want to. Hello, Jameson. If you want to, that's been hiding behind all your old programming. These unseen beliefs, these outdated success models. If you want to, if you're willing to step into the wheel of awareness, then I offer you this opportunity to say, hey, I want to know more. That's it. It's allows you to hear everything differently. If you've ever had a near-death experience, or maybe if you've crossed over and came back, I've had 3. It does amazing things for your clarity. I don't recommend it. I don't offer it. I wouldn't encourage you to investigate it. But near-death experiences are pretty amazing. One is freaking ridiculous. 2, 3, I've had 3. Don't recommend it. But I'd offer you the opportunity to have a near-death experience and maybe even a death of your old version of you to step into your new version. So that's my conversation this morning. Daily consistent. What if you could do daily consistent activities? Just the simple daily consistent activities you know you can do and you need to do, and you'll get better at it. Jim Rohn used to say, listen, if you can sell 3 out of 10 and I sell 1 out of 10, I'll always beat you because I'll outwork you and I'll get better. If I outwork you at 1 out of 10 and you're at 3 out of 10 and I get 2 out of 10, I get better and I wind up with 2 out of 10, I'll wipe the floor with you. And I'll probably get to 3 out of 10, maybe 4. And then the race is over. Are you willing to do the work, put in the work, to sharpen the saw, to activate the highest version of you in this lifetime? I don't know your thoughts on reincarnation, but I wouldn't want to come back and do it again. I'd want to do better. So there you go. Good morning, good morning, good morning. Thoughts, comments, questions, takeaway. What'd you hear? What'd you learn? What'd you like?
Good morning, Sean.
Good morning, Louise.
How are you?
Outstanding.
Hooray, hooray. That's wonderful. So, and just hearing that uplifts my spirits all the time. Thank you, thank you, thank you for this. This is the answer to the 3rd question I went to sleep with last night. I became aware over the weekend of some success I've had because it was a decision. I just made a decision.
Mm-hmm.
And I didn't think about it anymore. And then in reflecting,
Mm-hmm.
I went, oh, look, interesting. However, the question came to me is, that was easy. What's the block to applying it in all areas?
Right.
I want to know more, Sean.
And if you got to know more, what would change?
I wouldn't have I would be free of the dragging, the things that I keep dragging with me, thinking I've let go of them, but I haven't.
Cool. So you used a word. It's used both metaphorically and financially, free of. What
Yeah.
is the cost of it right now?
Oh, it's incredibly expensive.
Give me a dollar figure.
What?
From now until forever, how much is this going to cost you to hold on to whatever that is you're holding on to that you want to be free of?
Oh, it
See, here's the
billions.
challenge.
It's incredibly this is from now until forever, and it's just seems it's been a long while.
Okay. So if and this is the price. So now, how are you currently paying for it? What is it costing? How are you paying for that thing that it's costing you the millions of dollars? How are you paying for it?
With what I've been stuffing my pillow with.
Okay. More detail.
Regrets.
Okay. And so what happens if your bank account is filled with regret and that's what you're paying with, just for that, using that word, there's probably a half a dozen other descriptions we could use, right?
Right.
Other bank accounts we could pull from. Most people have multiple bank accounts. So right now we're pulling from the regret bank account. What do you pay with it if you're no longer using regret? What do you do with all of the regret in the bank account? Because you have an abundance of regret. We all do.
Could you clarify that question? I'm
Sure. So you said one of the ways that you're currently paying for this, because it's costing you millions. It's cost you, dare I say, millions?
yes.
It's going to cost you in the future millions.
Mm-hmm.
So this awareness is a multi-million dollar decision that you're paying for with regret. If we're used to paying for something, what happens if we no longer pay for it? Aren't we habitually going to wake up and write a regret check and go, oh, I don't need to write that anymore?
Right. We don't have to pay for it anymore.
But what do we pay for it with now? You're going to always have to pay for it. If you're not going to pay with regret, what do you pay for it?
Potential
What's that?
action that
Okay, so what action are you going to pay for it with? What's physical action? What mental action? What emotional action? What action will you expend energy on that will pay for this?
the action that drives me closer to my dreams.
Okay, but what's the physical action?
Consistency keeps
Okay, but what are you going to consistently do? What's the actual physical strategy?
Well, first of all, what became I've become aware of is my inconsistency with all of my uh what do you call them, the things that I do on a regular basis, or I have listed to do
Okay.
on a regular
Now,
basis.
is it inconsistent or is it just the pattern you're typically doing? It's not inconsistency because you're not
Well,
doing it.
it's resulted in that, but it has become the pattern. I've
Right.
become very consistent at
So
it. So
what's the pattern you need to take? What's the action you need to take to become consistent? So that you do it every day, whatever it is.
um in what I'm finding myself inconsistent with is the reading, like the reading of my DMP, writing of my DMP.
Okay, so what would you do? What would you do to read it daily? Would you put it someplace?
Oh,
Would you make it this has to happen? Would you make it a key code for the next thing in your day? I
Yes,
can't have a cup of coffee. I can't go to the bathroom till I read it, right?
right.
How do you create a
That
sense of urgency to read it?
I didn't think of those things to make it a key code. That's important. I can't go to the next thing until I do this thing.
It is dependent.
Yes.
See, right now it's not been dependent.
No. It's been a checklist.
It's been a checklist. I got it done. It's there. I can do it. Okay. Well,
No.
I got it written out. That's better than most. And we start to justify.
Yeah, no. Yeah, I get it. Thank you.
So what's going to be so let's set up a dependent rule. What's the dependent rule? What is this? This has to happen before what? It's gonna be subject.
Well,
Hmm.
um
So take a breath because your old story is getting railroaded, shot at, fireworks,
it
run
is.
over, bear trapped. Because you said you wanted more, right?
I do want more.
Right. And so now we're going after more, and all of a sudden your old story's fighting like tooth and nail. Ask it why it's fighting. Ask it why it's okay for it to play small.
It's afraid it won't be needed anymore.
It's not. What is it needed for? What is your limiting beliefs needed for? Why do we think we need
It's
the old
not
story?
needed, but it's got me. I mean,
Well,
because
no, it
of
is
all of
needed.
that, it's got me
That's
here.
how psychologically it works. Because women have a very caring brain. I'm not saying guys don't, but if somebody comes up and says, I don't feel needed, you're like, oh, now if you go, well, you're not needed. You're a piece of trash in my mind. That's called a witch on a broomstick. And she's just a witch in heels.
Oh my gosh, I felt such a relief when you said that.
I don't need you anymore.
Right.
Think about how many times you've said, all of you. How many of you have ever said that? I don't need you anymore. You are not valuable to me. I bet you can count on one hand the time, and you had to be mad as a hornet to say that. You never said it out of joy and happiness. Oh my
I
gosh.
don't know that I can remember ever saying that.
So this is where it is about getting tough with yourself, becoming aware of yourself. I don't need that story anymore. Say it.
I don't need that story anymore. Hmm.
And
Hmm.
it's not like the story goes, oh, cries and walks away. It goes, okay, shift, new programming. People say, well, I don't really get emotional about my dreams. BS.
Yeah, I do.
Tell me, all of us. I can talk about your old story and you'll get so wildly emotional about it, you will literally fight to keep it. Are you kidding me? Need to talk to one person a day. Well, I can talk to 10 people a day. No, I just said talk to one person a day. Yeah, but I can do more. I'm capable of more. No, you're not. No, you're not. Until
Yes.
one person a day. Well, I want to make $7 million. Okay, how do you get started? I don't know. I'm sorry, what? How do you make $500 in your business? How do you teach somebody how to make $500 in your business? I have 15 different ways somebody could make $500 working with me. Very simple. Can you teach somebody how to make $500? Can you show them how to save $500? That's the story. They're going to spend money with you. How do you 10x it? They spend 800 bucks with you. How do you get them 8 grand? What's the 8 grand story? And what's your new story? What's your new $1 million story? Because if you decide you're no longer going to start today, now in this moment, you just made a multi-million-dollar decision. And the only way that decision sticks is if you have a new story. Don't tell me where you've been.
Yes.
Tell me where you're going.
Tell me where you're going.
So what happens if you say, I don't need the old story? You have to have a new story. I don't need my old lover. Okay, but I like lovers. We'll go find a new one. What's your new lover story? What's this new person that you've fallen in love with? I've fallen in love with. What if you fell in love with your discipline?
Wow.
What if you fell in love with your consistent action? What if you got known as that? She's like the sunrise, always shows up, can always count on her. What if you fell in love with your creative solutions? What if you fell in love of being always prepared to have a conversation with somebody about something important to them?
Love that.
What if?
I love that vision.
So how important is it to have it? Is it worth $1 million?
Absolutely. Now, what keeps coming to mind, and is this strategy is remember?
Yes, it is.
Okay.
Because your state isn't making any damn strategy work. Ooh, snap.
Ooh, snap is right.
Your strategy sucks. Now, if you say, okay, I'm going to do my daily thing, I feel good about it. Yeah, I don't need you, old story. I feel good about that. Those are states.
Yes.
Your state isn't driving your DMP. Your state isn't driving the writing of your DMP, the saying of your DMP. So your state isn't working.
My state isn't working?
It's not if you're not reading your DMP every day. You know to read your DMP. I didn't ask you. I asked you what would you do? These are things you know to do.
Yes.
So your state's not working.
I see. Okay.
So start doing the things and your state will kick in going, oh, okay, it's okay for me to have this dream. Now, the way you get your state involved is you get mad. You get emotional. Getting you excited sometimes doesn't always do it. You can ask anybody who's been through the Dickens process.
Yeah.
And even that, we still forget it. As emotional as that is, and as heart-wrenching as that is, and as gut-wrenching as going through the Dickens process is, doesn't last a year. We carried it out 20 years. People crying on the floor, doubled over in the fetal position, literally crying on the floor. Stop, begging it to stop. And they give up on it a year later. That's why we need to resharpen our tools. We got to stay focused. This is the consistent. Pseudopsychogenesis, death of the old, birth of the new. Neuroenergetic self-coding, self-sculpting, the Nest program, dual talk, all of these things. You guys got access to a whole bunch of things. Well, let me try something new. Doing the daily work. This isn't a shocker to say read your DMP twice a day, write it out once a day until it becomes memorized. The most important thing you'll do is the idea of sustained thought and the idea of you getting rich. That's the only place you should be investing time, is you becoming rich. Period. What are the activities to become rich? What is it doing it in a certain way to become rich?
I'm writing.
I gotcha. What'd you learn? What'd you like?
I learned the amount of the dollar figure that's costing me, which was incredibly painful. Even though I knew that it was costing me, putting a dollar figure on it just made me more honest. And I like the fact that I can take control. I can do this.
Just
You have
command.
to make a decision.
Just
Pardon?
command. Just tell your mind what you want it to think about. Yes,
Yeah.
it has programming, but the only reason it's running the programming, habitual programming, hedonics, right? The ability to be in control of your own joy, is that's what we have. That's what we tell it to focus on. There's not a little man from space inside there running it. There is if we don't show up. It's called the default mode network.
Thank you, Sean. This
You're
is
welcome.
truly what I asked for.
Love
I appreciate you and love you so much.
you too. Thank you. And Jane, I love there's a lot of old memories. And seems like the older we are, the more memories we got. We have to decide that if we're going to remove them, the brain does not operate in a vacuum. We have to have the new stories in place. So it's not impossible. And regardless of the number of memories there are, we have to replace them with new visions. That's the only thing that creates the delay. Is if I take this, I got to pull this out. It's kind of like this big computer board in our brain, this big mainframe. We take out one hard drive, we have to do hard back in space. Otherwise, another hard drive just explain that. So old story, what's the new story? What's the opposite of that story? And that's the new programming we run. Good morning, Ruth.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Sorry, it took me a minute to unmute. So I turned off my alarm this morning because I'm like, I'm just not good at this. So old stories kept coming. And then somehow I'm like, oh no, Ruth, get yourself out of bed and downstairs and turn on this call. So I wanted to share that I learned that it's okay that I start small, because I kept saying to myself, look, you spent all this money and you're wasting it and you're not doing it. You can't even be consistent. So my word this year is consistent. And I looked at my notes and I keep seeing the word consistent. So I wanted to share that I learned that I can just do or commit to one thing. It's okay. I don't have to do 10 things, because I always feel like that's not enough. And so that was why I was supposed to get up and listen to you this morning. That is so crazy.
Shocking.
So crazy.
So that's your higher power that got up, the best version of you. The
Yeah.
one thing, the get up version of you.
Because I was sad. I was like, I'm not committed. Why am I not wanting to jump out of bed and do this?
Well, you are. Do you have any evidence that you've jumped out of bed and done this?
Yes.
For how long? Like 2 years?
Yeah.
Yeah. So you've got so what, why did one day? So there's a big breakthrough coming. What's the big breakthrough? What's the big energetic field that's going on in your life right now? And you may not need to share it with us, but there's something big going on that this would be a good way to throw a block in the mix.
Mm. So it's interesting how the old stories keep surfacing, keep taking over.
Is it really?
So we also said just demand. So I can demand to be consistent. I can demand to let those old stories go, because I can.
And let them and tell them, listen, I don't need you anymore.
Yeah.
It's literally taking out the garbage. Do you hang on to your garbage every week?
No.
No, then why are you hanging on to these garbage stories that just keep weighing you down and slowing you down and toxifying your possibilities?
Yeah. That's crazy.
Isn't it? When somebody says, have you looked over here? You have all of these old stories and they're like festering in your spirit.
Mm. Yeah. I'm going to demand. I'm going to demand.
What's a food you just really don't like to eat?
Oh, spicy food?
Okay. Okay, so imagine all these old stories are curry Indian food. And you have to eat a spoonful of those every time you walk around the house.
Okay, I like curry, but I don't like other spicy food.
Okay, so whatever the other spicy foods are.
Okay, yeah, whatever they are.
Right?
I push them to the side. I don't want any of them.
Fish eyes. It's a bowl of fish eyes. Do you like fish eyes? You probably like fish eyes.
I do like fish eyes.
I know. Yeah, I knew that as soon as I said it. So my point is that things that would gross other people out, we've got to find the thing that it's got to put a taste in our mouth. It's got to be like, I am not doing that. You cannot make me do that.
Yeah, just like hot peppers. I mean, yeah. Or
Yeah.
sriracha sauce. Yeah.
Yeah.
No. Yeah, these old stories. It's
So
yeah,
do you have sriracha sauce in the house?
Yes, because my husband loves spicy food.
Okay, so then you need to go put a little bit on your tip of your finger and touch that to your tongue whenever you do the old story.
Oh, okay.
Right, and go, I am not doing that again.
Yeah.
We have to create such an emotional, visceral in our body that we're not. Listen, this weekend, I didn't wake up on Friday morning going, I cannot wait to go to bed Sunday night with over 50,000 steps on my Whoop. 50,000, 22,000 and 26,000. And I think I was at 18,000 on Friday. That's a lot of walking, a lot of stepping. That wasn't on my goal, but you know what was on my goal? Get the leaves out of the yard. And I got a backpack blower, and my shoulder is hurting from the weight of that thing I've never wore, backpack blower. And I went through, and it but looks like gorgeous. Now it's still all brown, but to have that clutter of the leaves, and it's like, oh, it's sexy. So yeah, we have to have this. We have to have a bigger vision. We got to say the old story doesn't work. I don't need you anymore. And that's literally, some of you are going to break down in tears when but that's everything who I've ever been, but it's not serving you.
Yeah.
You've been a crack addict for all your life and you still want that story, but I don't want to put the I don't want to put the pipe down. I'm confused.
So Sean, when I do healing work for my clients,
Yes.
this stuff comes up, and for me, when I'm doing the healing work for them, I say these similar things. I'm like, why don't they see it? But then I turn back to myself. I'm like, oh my gosh, I'm doing the same thing. It's
Which is
crazy.
why I do these morning calls, because in order to teach it, it's because I'm teaching me. So give yourself a session.
Mm, it's brilliant. Yeah.
Literally set
Mm,
a time once a
yeah.
week, once a day, 15 minutes. Okay, Ruth. So discipline.
Well, that can be on my list. I
Yeah.
started my list.
And give yourself a healing session of discipline. Right?
Yes.
I can only imagine that, you know, a Heather or an Amber who have all these technologies. I'll ask Amber sometimes. I go, so have you used the Rife machine on yourself? Well, yeah.
Mm.
Have you or haven't you? Well, no, but I use it on the kids. Okay. Why not you? And so we have all this. So I have technology, the brain talk. I listen to my brain talk. There's some of the morning shows when I go back and listen, going, this is freaking genius. But I can't hear it while you're teaching it.
Mm.
So sometimes you can't even hear that. Sometimes you're teaching and healing others for what you need. We just go, I'm glad it's not me, it's them. It's usually us.
Yes.
You're right.
Yes. Oh.
What we teach, right? What's the phrase that goes, what you tolerate, you teach.
Mm.
That's a big one. What you tolerate, you teach. You teach
So
others
what
how to
else?
treat you. You teach you how to treat you.
Mm.
Mm,
Yeah. So I'm making my list as your call was happening. And I thought to myself, just pick one of those and be consistent. Do it every day. Just the one. And then already there's a few things that I did that we started in January and February that I'm doing like at night, just certain things, the you know,
right.
the 3 questions and just I do part of my gratitude at night for all the things I'm grateful for at the end of the day. Just things like that I never was consistent, but I've been doing it every night. And I can do that. I don't know why I think I can't do that for other things. So I'm grateful that I'm starting this list and I'm going to start again.
Yep.
Yeah. So thank you.
And so let's talk about your list.
Mhm.
What's the benefit of your list?
Well, I feel like it's the same as like Louise. Like it's costing me millions of dollars, damn it.
Right, but what's the benefit of your list? Your list has cost you millions of dollars.
Yes.
I love you, but your list for the last decade has cost you millions because of it's keeping you from being inconsistent. You're being consistent with overload and overwhelm, but you're not being consistent with consistent.
Yeah.
So what happens if you put you're only allowed to put 3 things on your list? That's it, period. You have to decide. Yeah, that right there is where you're going to become a billionaire. 3
Okay,
things,
wait.
Ruth. 3 things. That's it. Now, you cross one off, you can add another, but you can't have a list of 20 things because it's overwhelmed.
Ah.
You have a list of 3 and you cross it off and you get excited. You go, got that done. What else can I add? But you have this whole list of going, there's no way in hell I'll ever get through that. So you only have your big 3.
Okay.
And you can't add another one, just like Ruth. You can't go do this. It's got to be a key code. It has to be a process. You can't add 4 until you get 1 to 3 done.
So as I get the one thing consistent, then I can take it off the list and then I replace it with something else.
And add something else. So, and here's the thing. So let's say, okay, I'm going to be consistent. I'm going to do my 3. What are the 3 big things that'll help you to prioritize?
Mm.
right? So you put down your 3 and you're like, oh, I really want 4, but you'll not forget 4 if 4 is a big thing. So you got to get, so you're like, okay, let me do 2 right now. I can do 2 right now and I can get that done. And all of a sudden consistency starts to take place. You're checking things off. You're just not overwhelming yourself. Now it's an excited list as a verse of, let me list out the 50 things I need to do and go, holy crap, I'll never get this done, but I'm going to beat the crap out of myself to see if I can get it done. And you don't. So do 3. There's strength in
Love
3.
them. So
And
years
now
ago, yeah,
yeah.
I did a list of 3 every night before I go to bed, made the
Oh,
list on my
wow.
desk.
It worked before?
It worked,
Yeah.
but I went away from it. So this is
Yeah.
no different.
Shocking.
Uh,
Here's why. Listen, this is why I'm so happy I don't have to take credit for any of this because you already know it. I'm not good at teaching you what to do. I'm only good at helping you remember what's been valuable in your life. I'll say that till my last breath. I didn't teach you anything. I did help you to remember. And if I can get you to remember your dreams so real, you remember how valuable you are. You remember why you came to this realm. Right? What's the things, the 2 happiest days? The day you were born and the day you find out why?
I like that.
Right? The 2 happiest days of your life, the day you were born and the day you find out why. I'm just here to help you remember. I don't know your why. I don't have permission to hear your why. Brene Brown said, you don't have permission to hear anybody's why till they give it to you. I don't ask you your why. I ask you, what do you want to do in a year? That's not your why. We'll figure out your why because it leads into a decade's year of DMP. But let's figure out your what's on my hot plate right now. A year is not that long.
And doing the 3, I feel like I can do that.
I know you can do that. You've
doing the
already
10
done
was
it.
overwhelming.
Yes, but the 10 made you feel that you were. I really know that I got a lot of stuff to do, and I'm really going to set myself up for failure so that I can say, see, this doesn't work. I don't have to get up in the morning. Can you imagine jumping up and going, I got like 30 things to do, but I can only do 3 at a time. I'm going to do 3 and I get that off. And you will become so efficient and effective. And you will be doing it in a certain way that when you get it done, because it's so exciting, you don't want to have to repeat it, that you will literally do it in a certain way. And when you do your list, this just came to me, I don't know what it means, but you will heal your list when you add the new list, because it's now you're adding to a new thing. So when you cross off 2 and you write number 4 or wherever, you're going to take 30 seconds and energetically heal this list because it's something new. It's something that needs to work in cohesion. That make sense at all?
Yes.
Okay. So heal the list, because in healing the list, you heal yourself.
I love that. Bonus.
Yeah, I wish I knew where this stuff comes from. Oh, I know where it comes from you, and it's just a version of you is going, say this. I'm like, I don't know what that means. It's like, you don't know what half of anything you say means, so just say it. Good.
Yes, thank you.
You're welcome. That's exciting.
Very.
Love it. Hi, Diane. Well, what'd you learn? What'd you like?
You're talking to Diane or to me?
No, you, Ruth.
Oh, sorry. I was like, I learned that I can do one thing on my list. I learned that I can have a list of only 3 items. And that I know that it works. I know that I was supposed to get up and do this call this morning. Yeah. And I love being here. So thank you.
I love it. Thank you. Hi, Diane.
Good morning, Sean.
Good morning.
Well, I've been hit, and it's just taken me right down the wrong path, I'm sure. And I forced myself on Thursday evening, midnight was the cutoff for doing the TEDx talk. And
Thank God for deadlines, huh?
I know. 10:30, I said, oh my gosh, I have to get this done. I thought it was the end of the month. And so I did do it. But my back has taken control of my whole life, and it's moved around to my stomach, and it's just, I don't know, it's just taken my whole focus all weekend. And last night I sat down and started reading The New Psychology of Winning by Dennis Wheatley.
Yep.
And so a lot of things in that book, you know, you talk about, and it talks about, you know, the different disciplines that you should look at. And one of the things that I read last night before I went to bed was to be in control of your future, to control your outcomes is one of the greatest gifts of all. It's a matter of achieving through your own independent thinking and feeling in control of the future rather than leaving it to whim and circumstances. And through knowledge, repetition, information, imagination, and sheer willpower. And that's what I went to bed with. And so this call this morning just hit me in the face again. So I'm trying to get out of the stuckness.
Okay.
Yes.
And if Diane gets out of the stuckness, who does she become?
The person that I aspire to be.
So is it the stuck Diane getting out, or is it a new Diane taking over the identity? Can we just leave the version of Diane stuck? Because that's the one that seems to get unstuck, but always gets stuck. What's the new version that's not unstuck? Excessive, oppressive, riggedy, raggedy. So who's the unstuck Diane?
The one that's moving forward towards all the things in my DMP.
The one that did the at 10:30 at night did the TED Talk.
The work, yeah.
So why is it okay that your growth triggered pain? Because it's okay until we make a decision that it's not okay. So what part of you said it's okay to be in pain when I grow? Ask. If you ask yourself, okay, so I did this thing and my body got wrecked for the last 4 days. Who said that was okay? And you, like Napoleon Hill, listen, subconscious, I've taken advantage of you and you've taken advantage of me, but right now you're going to give me a title. I want to know who said it was okay to be in pain. Is it the little girl, Diane?
Yeah, I believe so.
So if the little girl, Diane, only gets recognition if she's in pain, ask her, what happens if we're no longer in pain? Is it okay for you to play rather than be sick and in bed and can't go to school and missing homework and getting bad grades? What happens if she no longer, if she can get recognition without the pain? Who did she become?
A better version.
And how old is that better version? Because she had to grow up a little bit.
Mm.
Is she a teenager? Is she a young woman? Is she you now? Because you are the little girl.
I guess it was in my 20s, early 20s.
Okay. So a little more mature,
Mm.
right? A little more interested in things that you weren't as a child.
Right.
A little more experimentation. So would you say your 20-year version, you're in your 20s version of you was bold?
Well, I did more things for myself,
Okay.
health and those kinds of things. But I also, that's when, I worked in ICU and things like that, that I was able to help so many people.
Okay.
So it was that feeling of,
So is there a feeling you're not able to help as many people now?
I guess so.
ICU, you're not typically having conversations with the people, aren't they typically out?
Yeah, I was working with, the families and things like that.
Okay. So the condition forced these people into your world.
Right.
You accepted.
Mhm.
So, okay, so I'm hearing this. Is there a part of you that is in this? Do you have conflict in going to help people because of it relates back to ICU that nobody wanted to be in ICU? And if you help people who are in pain, there's a part of you that says, well, they don't even want to be here. So if I don't talk to them, if I don't help them in the real world, I don't have to put them in ICU. I don't know what any of that means. I kind of know what it means. So if I translate it, so if I take that and now put Sean to it, is it possible that when you go to have a dialogue with a dialogue with somebody, that the 20-year-old version of you was gracious and caring because they were in a place they didn't want to be, so you made them as comfortable taking care of their loved one, letting them know, informing them, keeping them up to date because they had no choice but to be there with their loved one? Is it possible that there's an avoidance of bringing health front and center to people, that it triggers an old story of, well, they don't even want to be here. I don't want to make them feel uncomfortable. I don't know. This is the I'm watching my own Diane ER version movie right now.
That
Does
makes
any
a,
of does any of that make sense?
makes a lot of sense, yes.
Okay.
And that could be that limiting belief that's keeps replaying.
So what if the transition was to keep them out of the hospital? To let them slide sideways into the grave instead of having to go through kidney failure, renal failure, heart failure, liver failure, blah, blah, blah. Keeping them healthy. I spent 40 years with neonatal, all of these things, prenatal, all of this care of the human body. My goal now is to keep you out of that scenario. Because there ain't no fun in a hospital. People don't go there to get, I mean, it's not like, ooh, do we have reservations for the hospital? But aren't most people, if they're not using your wellness products or other good wellness products, but yours in particular, aren't they literally making a reservation for the hospital?
Yeah. Yeah.
So maybe see how it fits, see how it flows, and this is for anybody in wellness. Listen, all I do is cancel your hospital reservation. Some people, it took them 60 years to get this is good stuff. It took them 60 years to get the reservation. But they're going in for a quadruple bypass. It took them 60 years to get that reservation.
Mm.
This isn't dinner at the top of the Eiffel Tower. That takes a year to get a reservation, unless you know somebody. 60 years it took people to get 70 years it took them to get their reservation. So there was a gentleman, he was from Canada. quite comical, quite humorous, genius of a gentleman. Was in the he was in I met him in the Magnetic Wellness Company, and I can't think of his name, but out of Canada. But he said, I used to get on planes and there'd be somebody. This is when we came out with our chitosan. I think it was chitosan. It was seafood shells. It was something to help with weight loss or not cholesterol, carbohydrates. Anyways, he said they'd sit down next to somebody and go, so when you planning your heart attack? He just could do that. He could pull that off.
Yeah, I can't be that bold.
Well, but you would be in the face of, okay, enough is enough.
Yeah.
Right.
Mhm.
Now, I'm not saying to go. So you might ask somebody, so when's your reservation? For what? For your hospital stay. And because nobody, listen, it says an apple a day keeps the doctor away, not 30 apples in a day. You won't leave the bathroom. And consistent, an apple a day. So you could ask some of your friends and say, hey, listen, I need to ask you a question. I need to get your honest feedback. If I were to say, so when is your so when's your reservation? What would you say? What reservation? To the hospital when you get sick. Oh, I would feel terrible. Okay, so maybe you're onto something. Because we got to bring their wellness to light. People are on 7 different drugs, and 3 of them are because of the first 4 they're taking to help them offset the problems from the first 4. So they don't think they're sick. It's called false wellness. Just like it's called false success. Well, I'm doing my work. That's not success. You're not producing the results. Yeah, but I'm doing the work. That's not producing the results. You got to change the way you do it. It's just one of those things. If we got to change a little something, tweak something.
Yes, I have to go back to looking at my list.
Daily actions.
Yes.
And listen, I would encourage all of you DMP people, folks who are in the mastermind. Did you ask somebody, hey, listen, I got to ask one person. I hope you say no. You want to join me in my business? That's the only presentation you need. Do you want to join me in my business? If you're not going to get better at anything else, get better at that. You want to join me in my business? What business? I deal in the wellness world. But if they say no, guess what? You asked. We have to get in the habit of selling the chance for somebody to raise their hand. What'd you learn? What'd you like?
Well, I learned that I have the information that I need.
Shocking.
And it's just to look at things from a different perspective and look at the end result.
So when you took care of babies, right? You neonatal care, is that what it's called?
Yeah.
Okay. The NICU.
Mhm.
Could they tell you what's wrong, or you just read the charts?
Well, you'd look at the
Look
monitors.
at all of the things that were telling you about them, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
What if you started reading the charts on people and saying, hey, listen, here's some indicators I see from 40 years of taking care of people. There's some things you can make some pretty wild, accurate guesses about people and where they're currently at. Your mobility is this, your flexibility is that, you probably have some high numbers in this particular part of your life. How's that working for you? the reason that you were able to easily and effortlessly take care of the kids or somebody who's in a coma is because they couldn't talk back. You were going to go give them the best. And if you had to explain it to them, you're like, I don't have time to explain it to you. We just got to give you 32, but we got to give you 4 milligrams of blah, blah, blah. Start to use this amazing, brilliant skill you have of, if this is that, the alternate is this, how does that translate into language?
Mhm.
Did you ever provide a wellness solution, a health solution, a medical solution to somebody go, I don't know if they really want that. I don't know how they're going to feel about that. It's usually life or death.
Yeah.
So people are dying right in front of you. 1 day early, a week early, a 6 months early, a year early. Aren't you required by the Hippocratic Oath? I know you didn't take a doctor's oath, but you took a more important oath as a nurse and a physician, as somebody that's a wellness practitioner and a carer. Listen, you can get mad at me. I hope you're mad at me for an extra long decade. But I've got to offer you some life choices that might be better for you. What's the worst case scenario? They say no. What's the best case scenario? They say yes, and they love you for it.
Mm-hmm. Thank you.
Well, thanks. I'll take a load of that. So go
Building muscle, right? It's
exactly. Go talk to your 20-year-old version of you, that 20 in your 20s version of you, and say, what would you suggest to me? And be bold, and let her be bold.
Mhm.
And get Ruth to fix your body.
Okay.
Say, Ruth, do a session. Give me a session. Because you have too much to offer. That we don't need your back hurting and your body hurting and your stomach hurting.
Oh gosh, I know.
So, what'd you learn? What'd you like?
It's a process, and it's the belief in yourself, what you're capable of doing, and letting those old belief and habits go.
Well, you need your evidence file.
Yeah.
That's a regular evidence file. Take a shove it right up, but
That's true. I don't know why I keep falling into that.
well, it's called pattern. It's called habitual pattern. It's how we avoid our success.
It's like you take one step forward and then 10 steps back.
Well, but who's taking the 10 steps back? It's not the one who took the step forward. So
True.
we've got to make some commands and demand.
Mm-hmm.
So you've had a couple of dogs in your lifetime, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. All of them are different than your first one.
Oh, definitely. Yeah.
So don't keep treating this as your first one like you don't know what the hell's going on. You know they're going to chew. You know they're going to bite. Michelle's bought slippers specifically at Walmart, $3 slippers, and wore them so that when she goes to chew them, she gives them that slipper instead of her nice ones, and she'll chew on that one going, ooh, I got to chew on it, because she's going to chew somebody's shoe. Right? And the slippers from Walmart are usually lighter than my boot, which she had the other day in her mouth and tripping over. But she's gonna chew. They're gonna choose something. And the good news is when she's out in the pasture with me, out in the yard with me, she's chewing on sticks. We got all the sticks you want, baby girl. Chew, 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 chew. But we wouldn't know to do that if it was our first. Oh my God, she's chewing on a stick. She's gonna get a splinter. No, she's not. And if she does, we'll fix it. But it's kind of like I was left at the grocery store one time. I was the third kid. First one, my mother was bleaching Michael's shoelaces when he would go down for a nap. I'm lucky if I got a clean shirt, right? So we treat all of this newness as if it's our new child. We know what we're doing. Enough is enough. You've raised 78,000 dreams. Why are you treating this one like it's going to break? It's not going to break. You can drop it 100 times and it'll bounce. We need you back in action.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. I need to be back in action.
Yes. We need you. I need you being the best version of you. Love it. Love it. Love it. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank
And
you.
you see where Ruth said, of course, I'd love to give you a second.
Yes, I'll give her a call.
Anyone else? Last thoughts, comments, questions, takeaway. All righty. I love you tons. Thank you all for being here this morning. Thanks for letting me sharpen my saw and us sharpen together. I'm your head brain training, brain scrambling, the Nexus Code of Possibilities. I'll see y'all where?
At the next event.
At the next event. Somebody give me some Costa Rica.
Pura
Vida,
vida.
vida.
Pura vida. We love you, Mark. And some Lydias.
Peace be with us.
Peace be with us all. And the queen of helping you see things you never saw before, Jessie Lee Ward.
Boss
Boss Lee and a little white fluffy fur all over you.
Gurgly,
Gurgly, gurgly. We love you, Fee. All right, everybody, go have some fun today. We will see you tomorrow morning, bright-eyed and bushy-tailed. Thanks, everybody. Bye for now.
Love you. Thank you.
Sean, love you.
Have a good
Love
day.
you.